Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to another cast. Today I have got a pretty awesome PvZ game and let me introduce these two players. The top right we've got the red Protoss player, it is ShoWTimE. His opponent in the lower left is the blue Zerg. It is Liquid's newest member, it is Snute. So Snute is a complete baller at the time of casting this. He has been doing some awesome stuff, he's a nice guy, he's pretty cool, I like him, I hope you all like him. And hopefully he's going to give us a great game in the coming minutes. So, let's talk a little bit about what we should be seeing. Obviously, pull, hatch out of Snute into a quick third base. Out of ShoWTimE, we've got Pylon on the low ground already, so that means Forge fast expansion, maybe Nexus Forge. Depends on what the Protoss player feels like doing. Cloud Kingdom is a really cool map, although Immortal Sentry all-in is so incredibly likely. It's almost a mind game not to do it, because this third base for Zerg is just really quite awkward to hold. It's got wide open entrances, you can come up there very comfortably. Force fields are great to trap units and split up the army between the hatchery and the wall, and as a result, so many Protoss players like going Immortal Sentry on this map. Although, should you want to take a quick third, you can get a nice little wall off with gateways here and be like, hey, I can defend this. You can wall off here as well to make sure that your natural can't get hit by speedling run-bys. And all in all, you've got two options, which is really go for an Immortal Sentry all-in, which is really strong, or you can take your third quickly and just turtle up a little bit. And of course, 3-base Protoss players can make everything and anything they want, and as a result, should be fairly okay. Snute, 3 bases. You can do a lot on that. You can get out quite quick infestors. Your 4th base is quite a natural progression actually. It's just a little bit awkward to hold because of this high ground, although against Protoss it's not too bad. Against Terran it can be very awkward if you get tanks positioned around here, then of course you're in a lot of trouble. But against Protoss, you're not going to be worried too much. I like Cloud Kingdom, it's a great map, and nobody should veto it ever because it is just so good. So, we see here, of course, we've got the probe just running around on patrol command in order to block this hatchery, but Snute doing the baller thing of, well, I'm going to take 3 bases anyway, so I'm just going to take my third when you don't know it, which means you're going to have to come up and scout and be like, why haven't you taken your natural? I'm 90% sure you've just taken your third, but there's a possibility that you're sending a whole ton of Zerglings my way. And I went for a Nexus first. So if you are sending Zerglings my way, I need to be prepared to get a complete wall off. So this is the ultimate aim of all this scouting. Of course, this probe isn't really going to be much of a threat. It wasn't a forge first, so cannons aren't very likely at all. We do, in the meantime, have, of course, ShoWTimE just chrono boosting out probes. Should be thinking about getting the first 2 gas relatively soon. Roughly about the time you finish up that gateway, because then you start the cyber core, and obviously you want enough gas out in order to get your warp gate tech started and usually get a sentry as well. So that's the sort of game plan at the moment, how things are standing. So while we just watch this Zergling and Pro battle it out, let me remind everyone, if you enjoy my casting, please like the video, please leave a cool comment, and please subscribe, because I get new games up every single day of the week, 7 days a week, 52 weeks every year, so make sure you check me out. And of course, I even put them out on Christmas and New Year's Day. That is how committed I am to getting these out on time. Now, here comes down the Cybercore. The double gas is down now, so pretty much everything as predicted. The third base, nearly, well, 2/3 done for Snute. His natural, which is his third, is out now as well. The Queen is over there. Of course, this Overlord is going to be running around and be like, hey, I need to know what you're doing. I need to know if you're getting a robotics facility down. I need to get myself into a nice position. And this is generally a cool place to put your Overlord. Is you just come down and then plant it up here. You can come back in. You want to dodge the cannon, obviously. So this is all Snute just getting the information he needs. Early game ZvP is a very passive matchup, 9 times out of 10, where both players just macro hard for 9 or so minutes and then start engaging, and that's because the Zerg player doesn't want to get any units out in the field, to be honest, because 2 base timing pushes can work, but it's not going to be that great. And ooh, look at this, a Stargate coming down. There's no Overlord anywhere near that, and as a result Snute will have no clue it's coming. It's a cool build to go Stargate on this map, because you've got this nice little cliff area you can utilize and a bit of dead space you can escape out into. So Phoenix can be very potent. You can do a nice bit of aggression, especially if the Zerg player is not expecting it, which quite often they won't be, based entirely on the fact that, hey, Immortal Sentry all-in is really, really good. We'll see the Stalker coming out here with the Overlord. Gonna see that there's no upgrade being researched from the Forge. That is actually quite an important thing to note, because if you don't see this upgrade coming down, it's unlikely to be an Immortal Sentry all-in, you'd almost certainly see the +1 come down. It also means that without that Forge upgrading, it's quite unlikely for it to be a quick third either, because if you're going for a quick third, you're going for a longer style game, in which case upgrades become increasingly more important. So that's why you can usually assume, hang on, something's a bit weird here, is it going to be a big gateway push? We do have the Zealot Stalker trying to do some damage on screen at the moment, but they're not achieving that much, as we can see, just getting a couple of drones. The Zeta will get taken down. Snute could perhaps micro back the damage drones just to make them stay up a little bit longer. But of course 4 isn't a huge number, but it's more than enough to make it worthwhile getting 4 drones out there. If we look at the lost tab, 200 to 100 resources lost, and the Stalker happily able to get away without speed down. So we see here Snute has got his Rotron on the way, but has not even started an evolution chamber yet, and that's a bit of a problem, because obviously there's a lot of Phoenix on their way, which once you get to the 4 Phoenix mark, you're able to take out Queens very comfortably. Snute instead playing quite greedy, getting that hatchery out, and that means a 4th base relatively soon. And as we can see here, this double gateway wall off indicates that, because you know this Overlord is going to be here, it indicates that, hang on, this is probably going to be a quick third. And if we look here, there hasn't actually been any scouting down here for quite a long period of time, and as a result, Snute just doing what seems like the best thing, that, well, if he's walling off here, it's likely to be a third, and as a result, I'm going to go and attack and kill his third with a lot of Roachling. But the Roachling are going to be absolutely useless against these Phoenix, which aren't even going to get spotted by this Overlord now. It's actually quite a smart play, I think, not using those Phoenix in this situation to kill the Overlord, because you're trying to fake out your opponent into thinking you've got the 3rd base on the way. So all of this is really good decision making. We do have the double evolution chamber on its way down. I don't quite know where the other one is, it's somewhere around here, but there we go. As a result, these Phoenix only now just getting spotted. There's going to be no Spore Crawlers. The Queen can get lifted quite quickly. A second Queen there, luckily, though, so the Phoenix will have to be a little bit careful. You're going to have to micro them back to make sure they don't go down, but both of these Queens will now die. That really hurts Snute's production. We've got another Phoenix on its way through, but as we can see now, the 3rd base is trying to come down, but there's a large amount of units on their way through. ShoWTimE will not be able to defend this. There's just too much stuff there at the moment, so we'll force that to cancel. The Phoenix, even on their way back to come and defend this, trying to in order to keep this at bay, but as we can see, there's a good number of force fields. With the Phoenix coming back, and with another wave of Warpins imminent, this shouldn't be too difficult for ShoWTimE to hold. Snute will be forced to fall back, but he hasn't lost too much either. He's lost the Queens, admittedly, and that is probably the most amount of damage done, but this Phoenix harassment has now been shut down, entirely due to the fact that there's Spore Crawlers everywhere. As a result, the Phoenix aren't going to be able to do much more. They can just really help by negating some of these roaches out of the battle by lifting them, and as a result, maybe pick off a couple, allow this ground force to be better. But as we can see, ShoWTimE getting the Immortal out. Snute has done enough by actually taking this base here, and now doing a lovely hatchery evolution chamber trip in order to delay this 3rd as long as possible. So being 2 bases up, obviously Snute is going to be fairly happy about that. He's not got anything to worry about in sense of his economic position. His army position is going to be good as well. He's at 80 drones to the 65 of ShoWTimE. We do have the infestation pit just completed, pathogen glands on its way. For ShoWTimE, obviously this robotics bay is really important. The first Colossus coming out, as well as Blink. We should see some decent upgrades on their way. We've got +2 weapons coming down now as well. As we can see, these Overlords just around the map are now going to be sacrificed to the Phoenix. That is good for ShoWTimE. This is the kind of final use he's going to be able to get out of these Phoenix, is picking these off as quickly as possible. Has the potential to supply block Snute, and this actually will do until these Overlords complete. It's another good way to get a bit of a bonus, and Snute actually has quite a lot of Overlords out of position, trying to run them back ASAP towards this Spore Crawler. The Phoenix numbers up at 5, they can't engage a Spore directly. They could maybe try and position themselves around here and get the Queen. That would be a pretty cool move, but it depends how much of his APM ShoWTimE actually wants to put to this. He may just go straight for the middle line, as we're seeing now. Gonna just try and get a couple of drones, run out, wait for the shields to recharge, do the same thing again, keep the harassment up, make sure you try and limit Snute's drone count. But as you can see, he's in a great spot. He's getting 11 infestors coming out now, and of course Snute has his 4th, and if we look vision wise, we know that ShoWTimE is aware that that 4th is down. Once you know that the 4th is there, you know that, hey, my opponent isn't behind economically, my quick 3rd isn't going to pay off as well as I might want. I've got to do something to try and stay in this, and what Snute's doing is just trying to kill off Overlords, kill off drones, and get the most out of as he can. But here comes the Infestors. A Fungal Growth hits 3. Obviously, Snute would have been hoping to get all 5 of them in there. But with this, with the Queen coming in, he should be able to clean out most of these Phoenix. Now, Chain Fungling too. That's going to take ShoWTimE down to, of course, just 2 Phoenix remaining on the field. they're no threat to him at all with the Spore Callers at each base. In terms of upgrades, +2 coming down, +2 carapace that is, +2 weapons will probably get started shortly. A lot more roaches coming out. We do have more colossi hitting the field. We've got the third one nearly complete. 3 colossi is a nice point to get to as a Protoss player, because that's when you can really start engaging large roachling forces very cost effectively. But the concern is always going to be these infestors, still very strong. Fungal growth, the infested Terrans are going to be the concern, and as part of that, we're going to see Snute just go for the aggression. He's maxed out. He's over 50 supply ahead. He's going to try and get a nice round with these speedlings. And unfortunately, ShoWTimE jumping straight into there. That's going to allow these units to stream in from the other side. Try and get the Protoss player out of position. Luckily for ShoWTimE, Snute's army was a bit out of time. As a result, he's going to be able to hold this. He's lost his 4th attempt though. Here come the infested Terrans. He's got more speedlings streaming in as well. They're just really there to soak up some damage, allowing these infested Terrans to hatch. And we can just see this mass amount of beach balls is soaking up damage. It's going to clear out a lot of the zealots, allowing now the roaches to start streaming in. But the Colossi count up at 3 is just going to keep it a bit too high. The spire behind this for Snute is brilliant. Snute doesn't actually have to worry about this sort of trade. He's come off incredibly worse, but he's got a good number of hatcheries up, he's got 4 bases and a huge drone lead. So with all of that, he's got enough money in the bank to resupply with pretty much anything he wants. He knows his opponent is already trying to take this Nexus and trying to take his own 4th base. Snute taking the 5th, and he knows that his opponent isn't really trying to gear up somewhere where he can go and engage. So he's got time to get out an awful lot of infestors, and this really is a crazy high infestor count. And with a good count of infestors, then you're able to delay pushes like this quite well. The Spire was trying to come down, or the second Spire was trying to come down, the Hive on its way. A good number of Corruptors coming out, just trying to deal with these Colossi. Of course, with your scout out of this, by having the Watchtower previously, you know that actually my opponent is starting to move at me. I need to build some more spines. I need to make sure I'm relatively safe. Sending just a handful of speedlings to this 4th is a genius move. It's going to delay it. It's going to really potentially do an awful lot of damage. There's just a couple of speedlings can deal with good damage very, very quickly. And as we're seeing, they're just engaging units head on. It might take some of ShoWTimE's attention. In come the Stalkers and the Colossi. The Infestors do need to get some good hits. There's not that much to support this army though. So the fungal growths are going to be absolutely essential. The infested Terran engagements are going to have to be brilliant as well. The fungal growth still trying to chain down. We do see this Colossus is about to fall. The second one taking more damage, but even though there's mass infested Terran coming down, the Stalker's just focusing off the Corruptors, biding his time, ready to engage Snute, because of course the 4 now Colossi are able to do this, and by picking off all of those infested Terrans, Snute just has no other army, and ShoWTimE is able to take the game. So congratulations to him. That was a really solid play, and I hope you all enjoyed. Remember, like the video, leave a cool comment, and subscribe. See each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new cast. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.